Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, guys. It's your boy Mosa from the Homies Hub. I am here to talk about a little bit of Passport Bro smoke. But before we get into the video, make sure that you guys like, comment, and subscribe. You guys know we have the Homies Hub app coming out. Make sure you guys join the community where you can get more content like this from the entire community, a men's community that's safe to talk about travel and other topics that are usually taboo. Feel free to join us at thehomieshub.com. Tap into the Discord. Let's get it. So I was watching Giamo's video, and he basically was talking about whether someone like Don Banks is basically paying for it. Now, I do want to say this. This is a really old conversation, and it gets pretty old to even have these conversations nowadays, simply because as grown men, we understand that to deal with women, women are coming for resources in some way, shape, or form, whether it's popularity, whether it's you have to come out of money directly, or you have to take care of her lifestyle, meaning you get invoiced on the back end. It's something all men deal with. And this is actually a topic that actually got me started very, very, very early in the days of YouTube when I had a back and forth debate with Kenny Taylor, also known as QB.
Okay. What's the
You
whole? Go
okay,
ahead.
so this is my
Go
point.
ahead.
You have the ability to spend 100 times what your girl is able to spend on you. And knowing about women's psychology, female nature, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you're sitting here trying to convince me that your financial status is not a big reason why this girl is into you.
No, she's not into me because of my financial status. She's into me
QB, how
because
old are you,
she's
bro?
36,
How old is she?
25.
She's 25.
Mm-hmm.
You're a 36-year-old man dating a 25-year-old girl. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. But let me get to my point.
Go ahead. Get to your point.
You are dating a 25-year-old girl who you are able to spend 100 times more money on over the span of 4 years. You're in a long-distance relationship where she's not able to see you as often as she would like, right? And you think what's keeping her around is her sexual attraction to you? Do you think you're Brad Pitt?
Yes.
Now, I want to say this. Giamo has a point, right? And I also want to say this as well. Don Banks has a point as well. Both of them have a point. Giamo's point is that whether you're paying the girl up front, you're paying for it regardless. Maybe you're not paying her directly to spend time with you, but she's spending time with you ultimately because you are providing the experience. And Don Banks' point is, listen, I'm the man that she wants to be around. I'm good looking. I got things going on for myself. I built myself up to the point where I don't have to just come out of pocket to ask a girl to want, to come and hang around me. I think this is typically usually a conversation between men that are genuinely attractive and men that are not. And I want to say this because I've always prefaced this that I fall somewhere down the middle. I believe that when you're dealing with third world country women, no matter how you put it, you are paying to some degree. However, I could lean on where Don Banks is coming from because a lot of you guys come on the internet and you just think that because a man is overseas, every woman he's with, he has to pay for. And that's not the truth. A lot of these women have interim moments. And let me just break down what that is, right? There is usually a a gap between a woman needing something and a woman wanting something. And typically when a woman's basic needs are satisfied, meaning she already found one of you simps to pay for whatever it is that she needs to have done for her, she's going to want to have a guy that she likes to mess around with simply for the sake of the fact of her ego or having fun or just enjoying herself. And it really wouldn't surprise me if Dom Banks falls into that pocket. It wouldn't surprise me that he knows that he should fall into that pocket where he doesn't have to come out of pocket, pay for a girl, pay for the grandma, buy milk and things like that. Meanwhile, for the men that are less attractive, a little bit older, don't really have much going on for themselves, they are going to have to come out of pocket more consistently. Now, like I said, I'm open to the fact that I have had to pay for it, and I'm also open to the fact that there's a lot of times I do not have to pay for it. There really is no need for me to quote unquote pay for it. But to Giamo's point, you are paying to some degree, right? If you are providing the experience, you're buying the drinks, you're buying the seats on the beach and the overhead umbrella that's going to go above you guys, then you obviously know this isn't something she would come out of pocket herself to pay for, because then she's going to start questioning why she's spending time with you if she has to come out of pocket. Meanwhile, you are better off and you can obviously take care of it. And this is just a situation, and it's also a curse when you are American in some of these countries, because these women ultimately look at us as the breadwinners. They expect more from us because we have more. Even if we are better looking than some of their men, we're bigger statured than some of their men, it won't change the expectation part. And this is where we need to understand female nature. I think this conversation should die. If you want to really know the truth, we shouldn't be having this conversation as to whether or not a man is paying for it or not. I think it's really a way to try to belittle other people and attack other people, saying, hey, man, you're not so much better than me because I got to pay for it and you got to pay for it. And really, there is levels to quote unquote paying for it, right? A lot of you guys are going to have to, pay a lot up front. You're going to get hit with the ugly tax. Others of us, we don't get hit with the ugly tax. In fact, a lot of the women try to play the long game and try to get the money or get whatever she's looking for from us on the back end. And I think all of us go through that to some degree. You're dealing with poor women. Poor women are going to do poor shit. Even if she's a gorgeous, beautiful model, Latina, it's going to come up to some degree. All women ultimately around the world are looking for a man to take care of them. So when you run into these women, that like you for you and like your personality, it doesn't change the fact that they have monetary issues. They have things that they need and desire that they ultimately feel that you can provide. And those are usually the guys that'll get a lot of these women, right? You can have the ugly guy, but because he's willing to shell out the money, he'll always have women. He'll always have access to sex. It'll be easy for him. And he's enjoying sex the same way a guy who was attracting women through genuine desire is enjoying sex. But here is the thing that a lot of people don't talk about that we do need to talk about. I was in Medellin and I was dealing with women that are typically gold diggers. But for me, in the pocket I was in, I wasn't having to shell out anything besides an Uber ride and maybe some food here and there. I wouldn't even go as far as buying liquor for these girls. These girls would hang out with me for free, quote unquote, for free, because they just enjoyed my time and they enjoyed having sex and things like that. However, I always knew that I could never keep this girl's attention solely to myself based on just that, because I wasn't providing finances. And ultimately, she makes her living being a gold digger, right? So, because she makes her living being a gold digger, she might not charge me. She might not even have a monetary expectation from me, but I knew somebody else was going to have her folded like a pretzel because he was going to be willing to pay the money that I wasn't. And that's typically why us dudes overseas, we don't commit to these girls, because a lot of us are not really willing to keep spending the money on them. And a lot of the guys that are living overseas that you see them with a consistent girl is typically because he's spending the money on her to take care of her. This is the quote unquote traditional role that we were looking for when we left the US in the first place. So I don't really understand why we shame dudes for taking care of their woman and paying for the woman when ultimately we left America. A lot of these older men in general, left America to take care of traditional women anyway, right? So if it's traditional, it means you come out of pocket if you have the resources. Now, if you don't have the resources, obviously she's not going to expect you to come out of pocket, but you can't think that you're going to keep her attention if she's young and beautiful and she's able to obtain those resources, from someone else. That's just common sense. We should understand that. So I did want to say that. Now, that's if you fall into the pocket of the guy that isn't paying for it. You don't really always have to pay for it. Let me also mention this, because I don't think I covered this as well. Knowing the language is huge. Okay. Knowing the language and being able to converse with these women and run game on these women in their language is huge. And I think you guys underestimate the importance of understanding the language. A lot of you guys focus too much on whether a dude is paying for it or not. You don't know what we are able to convey to these women, how you were able to run game on these women, no matter how you want to put it, no matter however you want to say it, whether it's a manipulation or just running game or gaming her out of her cheeks. When you're able to talk to these women, you could talk a lot of that nonsense that they have set up in their own head as to what they're going to get from you out of their head and still get what it is you want without coming out of pocket. But now, if you're not coming out of pocket monetarily, you're definitely coming out of pocket with your time. So you are paying for it regardless. However, I think what a lot of you guys do, and this is no shot at Giamo or Don Banks, what a lot of you guys do is you say whether a dude is paying for it or not to almost try to have like a who has the bigger nuts contest, like who's the better guy contest. I think ultimately that's what this comes down to, right? Where we don't want to believe a particular guy got it like that. I have no doubt that Dom Banks is able to run through a bunch of Brazilian chicks without having to give them a dollar because he can speak the language. He's American. He's a pretty decent looking dude, and he's clouded up. He's throwing yacht parties. He has a following. You know what I'm saying? Women see him around. Women. Sometimes you guys have to remember female nature still exists, even in these countries where these women are poor. Some of these women could be throwing Dom Banks some pussy simply because they're in competition with the next girl they just saw him with. That happens. But if you don't live in these places long term, you don't stay long term, you'll never be able to see that side of things. And all you'll ever see is the tricking part where you had to give her some money, immediately before or immediately after. You don't see the episodes and the pockets where she just needs to be around a man and she's just choosing. You know what I'm saying? And that does exist. With that being said, it's your boy Mosa from the Homies Hub. Let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think. I know some of you guys are gonna say I'm glazing or whatever, but as like a fellow expat, I could see both sides of it. I see both sides of the argument, and I think it's one of those things that it's not even really worth even talking about. You know what I mean? If you understand how women are, man, then you know how women are. Just enjoy yourself, have fun. Whether you gotta pay up front, pay on the back end, you getting the same pussy, bro. Anyways, it's your boy. Peace.